Hey guys, today is Wednesday. It's Business Wednesday. I love Business Wednesdays. I think Business Wednesdays are my favorite day. Today is May the 6th, 2020, and it's Business Wednesday, which I said is my favorite. And I appreciate you tuning in to At Home with Norma. And it's been a really good week so far. I have no idea where we're cooking or baking tomorrow because tomorrow is Dessert Thursday. So if you have some kind of great idea, definitely let me know. But I have no idea what we're going to be doing tomorrow. But nevertheless, I am excited about Business Wednesday, and I want to be patient and allow people to come on. I'm very, very excited about what I'm doing. I'm hoping that y'all are as committed to Business Wednesday as I am. And when I say I'm committed, I literally have a notebook that I've been taking notes. And I have my laptop open with things that I want to communicate. And I want to go over some things. I am realizing just how many people, myself included, just how many people have other people in their lives who discourage them to start a business or to do something. And it doesn't even have to be start a business, guys. It could be write a book. It could be get off of the track that I'm on now and take a new track. Maybe it's quit my job and go back to college full time. Maybe it's stop going to school and just dive into the thing that I've been wanting to do. It doesn't matter. Whatever any of those things are, if it's time for a change in your life, this is the video for you. And I'm super excited about it. So if you came today looking for a recipe, that's not going to happen until tomorrow. So I'm hoping to kind of wait. If somebody's on, it says a couple of people are on, by all means say hello because I can't see you, so I don't know who I'm talking to. And I definitely want to be able to dive in. If you are going to be connecting on Wednesdays, please come to the table with a pen and paper. Every single week, I'm going to give you assignments. And I'm really hoping that as you guys get serious, what will happen is that you'll begin to ask questions. I'm really hoping that you are just not listening to me rant about the life of an entrepreneur, because that's not what this is about. This is a free place right here. This is a space where you can say, I've got this kind of secret idea in the back of my head that I've been peddling for years, and I've never really had a place that I was comfortable talking about. You know, can we do it right here? Well, this is the place for you. I told you guys a few weeks ago that this was going to be a place where you were free to vomit phenomenal ideas and questions and thought processes and all of those things. So again, I'm really, really hoping that we can kind of touch the heart, touch your heart about what it means to be different in a world full of people who are often very much the same. So I'm still waiting. I think last week people really tapped in at like 7 o'clock, which is unfortunate because I hope to be off by 7. But I'm considering moving this Business Wednesdays to 8 p.m. on Wednesdays because it seems like a lot of entrepreneurs, especially as people go back to work, that they'll be coming home and feeding the kids and saying hello to the family, and 6:30 may be tough. But I'm waiting to kind of hear some feedback from people regarding what time they would like for me to be addressing this. Right now, I just do obviously 6:30 every single day, but I'm trying to be connected. So again, I have 2 computers going. I've got one where I've been just, again, jotting down notes since we kind of started this. And that's all I've been doing. Again, I keep hoping that somebody, I see there's plenty of people on, but nobody has posted hello, and I can't see anyone for whatever reason. So I really don't want to jump in until we've got a good number of people. So it would be great if you intend on staying, say hello. And I intend on staying so I can ask you questions along the way. If you don't intend on staying, I totally understand. You can catch it on the replay, or maybe, quite frankly, you don't intend on doing anything different. Maybe this is not a season where you're actually trying to do anything different. But if you are in a season where you are bored with the life that you have, this is the place to be every single Wednesday. Okay? All right. So I guess I'm going to jump in. We're almost 5 minutes in. No one has said hello, but again, I can see that people are here live. So I'm just going to jump in. The first part of this live is going to be a lot of review. I think this is like our third week doing this, maybe our fourth. And so it's super important that we at least go through some of the things that we want to discuss here in terms of business owners. One of the things that, and again, I'm taking notes because I want to be able to refresh and I want to be able to go back to this thing next week so that I can know what we talked about. If you intend on staying and this is something that you want, the first thing that we're going to talk about is how much time are you spending on you. So I'm going to be writing that down. We're going to call it personal development. And I have decided, I will share this news with whoever's listening. I have decided to actually hire a business coach, an executive business coach. And I did that because I feel like in some ways in my own business, I am on a journey where I feel like a bit like I have hit a ceiling, not because of anyone else, but certainly because of my own limitations or education or experience. And I'm excited about sharing a lot of the things that I learned from my executive coach off to you guys, especially again, those of you who are ready to do something new. And so as I begin to share these things, and learn and begin to express them, to you guys and share them with you, that makes me super excited. So that's what I'm going to do. Yeah, so I'm pretty excited. Okay, so first we're going to talk about personal development, and probably at the top of every conversation we have for our Business Wednesdays, that's what we're going to do. I think it's super important. I need to know that you guys are spending some time every single day on yourself. One of the assignments that I gave you was to be sure, and again, I'm writing this down because my notes last week were really jumbled. And so I have a fresh sheet, and we're going to, again, kind of just start again afresh and then just kind of make sure that we're where we need to be. Okay, so we talked about personal development, and one of the ways that we can discover who we are, I find oftentimes as people, we don't really know who we are. We don't know our strengths and weaknesses. We kind of do at a surface level, but there's a part of us that we don't know enough about ourselves, and that's not going to happen without spending some time away from a spouse or significant other, away from the children, and just on you. So one of the easiest ways to tap into some personal development is to spend what we call the 5-minute morning. So if you guys will remember, our 5-minute morning, I'm going to write this down. Our 5-minute morning is when we spend 5 minutes in bed before our feet actually even hit the ground. And we spend 5 minutes dreaming, and we call that our 5-minute morning. Now, for those of you who haven't heard this before, let me tell you what our 5-minute morning is. That means that we learn how to dream. Most of us don't know how to consistently dream. Now, someone can say to you, like if you could do whatever you want tomorrow, what would you do? And you may be burst out like, oh, I think I would take the family to Paris, and we would do this or that, or maybe we would travel. But if I asked you on day 5 what your 5-minute dream would be, or your day 10, or day 20, or day 3 months, most of us literally don't know how to expand our most of us don't know how to expand our creativity, expand our thinking, and don't know how to be creative in what it is we want. And so our 5-minute morning, here's what it does. In the beginning, it will seem a little stiff and it'll seem a little forced. And so maybe if you wake up tomorrow morning and you ask yourself, okay, if I could do whatever I wanted today, if my life looked whatever way, what would it look like? Okay. And so possibly you would say, this is what my life would look like. I don't want to go to work today. Today, my kids and I are going to, like I said, my kids are going to travel to Paris. We're going to eat at the Eiffel Tower. Okay, that's great for day 1. But I need you to do it every single day. Now, there's no holds barred. There's no reign. There's nowhere that you can't reign in this. The point of your 5-minute morning is to develop your creativity. What's going to happen after a few weeks, maybe 4 or 5 weeks, is you're going to be able to go back and you're going to start to notice that there's some commonalities that you didn't know. What happened is you are practicing creativity, but you're not, but this is a very concentrated creativity. And what's going to happen is forth from your heart, you're going to have a hope and a desire that you didn't even realize. Once you start to develop your 5-minute morning dream, you're going to start to track the things that you dream. So I'm going to write that down. Okay, now we're going to track dreams. What you are going to realize is you have desires in your heart. And that is why this exercise is so important. And you know what? I will post this on Facebook when we get off of the live, and I'll say post. Okay. So I know, and I'll even put a star there. Okay. Now you're going to track your dreams. And as you're tracking your dreams, you're going to start to look for commonalities. Okay. And in these commonalities, you're going to start to realize that there is something that you want you didn't realize. When you allow yourself, and then don't just start to look at them. Don't just start to think about them. Now you're going to start to speak about them. Oh, how about this? I haven't thought about that. Oh my gosh, I want you to start saying it out loud. Okay, start to speak it out loud. Let your ears physically hear what's going on in your mind that you would not have even thought of. You cannot not do this practice and think that it's not going to catch up with you, because what happens is we have these great ideas, and then we keep these great ideas here. And when we don't transfer the great ideas from here to here, we try to hold on to them here along with all other parts of our life, or again, what's our marriage, what's going on with work, what's going on at home, has this bill been paid? I got to visit this friend's house, whatever. So you don't want to actually hold on to these dreams here, because here gets cluttered. So the more that you transfer things from here to here, meaning this paper, then what happens is it gives you more opportunity and more space for new dreams to develop. Hey, James Miller. And so you want to be able to take the things that you're dreaming about and curious about, and take these things. And as you begin to put them on paper, what's going to happen is as you begin to make new room, you're going to realize that you are much more a creative person than you ever thought. Now, I just want to remind you that the Bible says that we were made in God's image. Now, I always say this: if you are not a believer in Jesus Christ, do not throw out the baby with the bathwater. As an entrepreneur for over 15 years, I have great nuggets for both the believer and non-believer alike. But I will say, as a believer, I am made in the image of God. And as a result, God is a creative God. And as a result, that means I am. So if I am, you are. And so I highly, highly urge you to get very, very serious about doing the dream. Now, if you're just jumping on and you missed the first part of this, by all means, go back into the video, because what we're talking about today is super important. This assignment right here is going to be the foundation for every single thing I do and teach on Wednesdays. And so I don't want you to take this for granted. I have said it before, but I'm going to tell you that the Bible tells us that faith comes by hearing, and hearing by the word of God. So if you hear me tell you this on one Wednesday, and then the next Wednesday you hear me tell it again, I'm probably going to continue to say it until I feel released from saying it. Meaning that when I feel like as a group we've gotten it, we're really starting, I'm getting good feedback about our 5-minute mornings, then we'll start talking about it and we'll be able to move on. Okay. So this is, it's going to fall under personal development, and personal development is important. Okay. So all right. So there are some other, so I say once you can start to do that with personal development. Some of the other things that you're a part of are going to become a little bit easier. For me, I can't speak for everybody else. For me, I do not typically do well with self-help books. I am incredibly relational. So I find that self-help books, and I don't mean to oversimplify some of the books that are on the market, Think and Grow Rich and all of those. I really do believe that those are all phenomenal materials. I struggle with those types of materials though, just because of the way that my brain goes. So you have to be able to ask yourself, what kind of material do you think that you can receive in such a way, or read in such a way, or listen to in such a way that you'll be able to pull nuggets from to kind of add to the list of things that you're doing in order to have personal development. Listen, if you are not already a business owner or you're an entry-level business owner and you don't do personal development, you will always be an entry-level entrepreneur. I just cannot say that. If you do not work on personal development, you will never be more than an entry level. Now, I'm going to put that because that strikes me, entry level entrepreneur, and I'm going to say needs education. Here's the deal. Again, the reason that I hired an executive coach is because I'm great at what I'm great at. But for me to take my business to the next level, be able to be more of a blessing to other people and still manage my household, my children, my finances, the existing employees that I have, I'm definitely going to need outside resources. Now, because I don't necessarily do well with that kind of material, I had to find a different avenue. That's what I'm saying to you. Find something, someone, books, audios, maybe a different mentor, more mentors, someone who can sow into you. Though I warn you that no matter who you go through, they are going to push you toward personal development. Now, I'm going to tell you this. And this kind of goes back to the conversation that we had before about understanding who you are, your pros and cons, the things that you do well, the things that you don't. If you say to me, Norma, read this book. I mean, if I really respect you and love you, I will read the book out of our relationship. If I pick up the book on my own, I'm much less likely to read it at all. If you say to me, let's read it together, I'll read a chapter tonight, you read a chapter tonight, we'll talk about it tomorrow. Now, the chances that I am going to invest my time into reading that book go up exponentially because I'm a wooer. And again, if you weren't around for some of these first videos, you don't understand what that means, but a wooer stands for winning others over. So that's like my number one business strength, if you will. People are very important to me, so I'm incredibly relational, right? And so keeping relationships positive and healthy and strong becomes not just important to me, but it really becomes an extension of the most important part of my being. Okay, why am I saying that? Because part of personal development is truly understanding what your personal strengths are. All right, so now I'm going to number C. So we need to talk about personal leadership strengths. Now, I've said this before, but I will say it again. Years ago, when I first started with personal development, and I was asked to take a leadership assessment online, I had convinced myself, now listen to this, I had convinced myself that I didn't have any leadership skills. Now, the assessment, the understanding of the assessment is that everybody has 5 key strengths of these particular 34. And it's kind of an assessment that you can't fail But what happens when we have insecurities that have not been dealt with is that we begin to think that, how we operate or how we're thinking or how we process things are right versus wrong. But there's really no such thing as right versus wrong. These are just, um, there are different mindsets, and there are different strategies and different tactics. Now, I have two brothers, both very intelligent, both very hardworking, both incredibly meticulous, both a perfectionist, not in a bad way, both just amazing human beings. But they could not be more different, literally, on this earth in terms of their personalities, and I would dare say their leadership strengths. So again, if you don't even know what your leadership strengths are, I highly challenge you to start there. Now, I have given in the past, I've given, yes, Michelle, I know that sounds goofy, but yes, I did not think I had leadership skills. And you know what's so funny about this is I'm 51. I'm not even talking about like, oh, when I was in my 20s or 30s. No, I'm talking about I think I took the assessment at like 44, somewhere around there, 45. I was dealing with a lot of insecurities in my 40s regarding business. And I think I have been in business already almost 10 years. So that's key, because if you're not aware of what you bring to the table, then every time you get challenged for doing anything wrong, right? Or let's say that you're working in an environment or anywhere really for that matter, and someone challenges how you've done something simply because they would have done it differently, right? And certainly this is something that my employees would deal with all the time. They have one mindset. I have a completely different mindset. And so I generally go in a charge in, okay, hey, why are we doing it this way? But I challenge them to come back to me and say, hold on, wait a minute. We did it this way because X, Y, Z. And I love that, because even if the way that they did it was wrong, or maybe would have taken a little bit longer, how great for them to be able to find that voice and say, this is my strategic thinking. And even as an entrepreneur and a business owner and an employer, I am always, literally always, having to challenge myself in saying, remember, you have to constantly remember that the reason that they're doing it this way is because these are their leadership strengths. A few years ago, I challenged a few members of my team to taking this personality assessment. Now, I'm going to tell you, my team has grown exponentially. But even with you, Michelle, I would really love to see you take this personality assessment. As a matter of fact, I just need to buy the assessments for Michelle and Shadeen for sure. And I would just Adriana. Why? Because not only does my team need to understand what my strengths mean, but they need to know what theirs are. I would even encourage you. So let's say that either you're an entrepreneur now and you have business owners, or you're an entrepreneur and you share a business with your husband or your wife, or you are uh, somebody who's up and coming in terms of being a business owner. You need to know what your strengths are. And I would even dare say that it's my responsibility to know what my team's strengths are. Because if I don't, then what'll happen is, and I listen, guilty. Guilty is charged. Everybody knows, uber strong personality, type A, take over, go in, bulldog a charging. That is who I am. So it is super key for me to make sure that not only do my crew, my people, know that I love them immensely, but that if I understand how their brain operates and they understand how my brain operates, then instead of getting frustrated with each other, we can look and say, that's right. See, she is very strategic in how she handles problems. Oh, but look at her over there. She's very relational in how she handles problems. And so And again, part of having this community, part of wanting to do this every day, part of wanting people to um, share this and really be just very honest with themselves about what they want long term, not be afraid to say, hey, again, I'm in this situation in my life. I'm really not sure that this is what I want to do long term. I never started this business so that I could hire women who are going to be painters forever. That was never why I started this business. I started this business because I wanted to mentor women who could look at me and say, she had no education, she had no money, she had no influence, but she's created something out of nothing. And if she could do it without an education, as a single mom, completely broke, on welfare, then certainly I can do it. And so for me, that was super, super critical. But none of these things are going to happen without personal development. So we have, so far under personal development, we have our 5-minute mornings. We have, what I put it, entry level education, because if you are not educating yourself, you are not growing. And then I put, under being able, personal leadership strengths, and being able to understand who you are and what it is that you consistently bring to the table. Doing these things are going to automatically make you more secure, and they're going to give you better self-esteem. When you come to the table with self-esteem, everything is better. Listen to me. When you come to the table with self-esteem, it doesn't just lay a smoother foundation for you from a business perspective, but it does it from a relational perspective on every avenue you could possibly think of. So if I have a girl who comes to the table and every day she is doubting every single thing she does and every single way she does, what's going to happen is, as an employer, I'm going to have to babysit her all day. Well, I can't babysit her emotions and babysit her feelings and still teach her how to tile and do electrical or whatever those other things are. And so some of that is being able to say, I need you to grow thick in your skin, because it's when you grow thick in your skin that you'll begin to just kind of grow more as a person. And what's going to happen is, because somebody doesn't have to babysit your feelings all the time, they can spend that time instead really teaching you life skills that you're going to need. Now, having said that, nobody is advocating for bad behavior. Now, I may have mentioned this, I can't remember, but years ago I worked for a construction company, and I worked for a man who cursed me out day and night for 6 months. And he cursed me out all the time. He would stand over, I remember he was a short guy, and he would stand over my desk and curse me out from left to right, call me every kind of name, tell me how stupid I was and ridiculousness, because I wasn't great at editing. I was really, really young, and I didn't know anything about editing. And so he would, have me type up some notes. I'd type up some notes. It would be riddled with errors, and I'd give it back to him. I didn't know anything about a spirit of excellence. Now, I call that hard knocks. I learned through hard knocks what it meant to work on my editing skills. I don't want my girls that. I don't want to, I'm not cursing anybody out. I'm not cursing anybody out just because they did. I'm not doing that. So because I learned a particular way, and I know that there's a better way, it's important for me to be able to take the girls under my wing and say, listen, we can learn how to do these things together. And again, it doesn't mean that I don't get frustrated. It doesn't mean that I don't get moody. It doesn't even mean that I don't kind of rush things, right? Because I'm managing so many things. But personal development means that, because I know that these are the things in my life that are the most important to me, because I know that these are the things in my life that um, um, these are the ways, I should say, that I capture the best of my days, is by investing into my girls. And I know that that happens because I am so relational. I know then that taking a portion of my day to invest in them is important. also raising their expectation that we're going to go from, or having an expectation that mediocrity of any sort is okay, bringing them up to a deep spirit of excellence without perfectionism. And I'm going to tell you, and my crew will tell you, that's really hard for me. For me, it's so easy for me to cross that line where, I really want it to be great. I want it to be excellent, but it's so easy to cross over into perfectionism. And that's when you get yourself in trouble. So all of this personal development, we can meet here every Wednesday. We can chat every Wednesday. You can share this with 100 people, 1,000 people, 1,000,000 people can watch this video. But none of these videos are going to matter for those who are not doing any personal development on their own. I was hoping that we were going to be able to talk today about really kind of exercising what your ideas are for business, but I can't believe it. It's been already 30 minutes. Like, I feel like I haven't even said anything. It's already been 30 minutes. One of the things that I'm hoping to get from you guys is questions. I think probably more than anything, that's what I'm looking for. I'm really looking for people to say, hey, you know what? I'm thinking about starting this business, or I'm thinking about leaving school to get back in the workforce, or I'm thinking about, leaving the workforce to get back in school. I need a place that I can go where I can share my ideas and they're not getting torn down by people who are afraid to make risks. I want this to be a place where you can literally post questions and then we address those questions. I promise that I will not pretend that I know everything, because I don't. But I do promise that I'll be a listening ear. And I do promise that if I don't know the answer, I will work hard on finding it for you, because everyone needs a place where they can go, where they can throw up their ideas, and somebody is going to say, hey, let's explore that in a safe environment together. That's what this space is for. So, okay, it's been 31 minutes, and so I try to stay off in 30. I will come back next week. Now, listen, I am going to keep doing this until the Lord tells me otherwise. And I'm going to keep doing it with a smile, and I'm going to keep bringing material. And I am very, very excited. Whether I said it from the very beginning, whether there's 101, or 1,000,001, you are worth my time, because you were worth God's time, because you were worth his creation. And so, however or wherever or whenever you listen to this video, if you need to come back and ask questions, I'm always here. Jesus, I sign out the same way every day. Jesus loves you. I love you. Find joy in your day, because you're worth it. I'll talk to you later. Mwah.